Dark room, no escape. Secret studio creators lair.
Welcome back to another episode of Secret Studios. I believe this is the third installment of the podcast. Had a lot go down in the 4 months since we have had a podcast for Secret Studios. Lots and lots and lots of music and also personal life stuff, which is kind of why you haven't heard more from this podcast. But I digress. We're trying to change that. Probably the most recent thing that I recorded, I'll play a little bit of it for you right here, if I can. Gotta talk over it so Spreaker doesn't take my podcast down because it's not allowed to have music-only content.
On your special day, you're turning 5 years old in the best kind of way. Got a birthday wish for the brightest star. You're a shining light, that's just who you are. For the best kid on a birthday, a little help just the same. You mean everything to us, every single day.
Enough of that. That was a little tune that I threw together for Delilah's 5th birthday, which was July the 11th at 4:28 p.m. Of course, Delilah being the center of my wife and I's whole world. That's our granddaughter, and we spend a lot of time helping raise her, so I just thought, what now that I have my own work, at least work taping studio. I mean, I think this is more than a work taping studio, but now that I have this at hand, there's no reason not to do an original song for her every year on her birthday. This year I videoed the whole thing. I sort of set up here. Harrison helped me a little bit, and I did kind of more of like a live take of it, and then added some drums and whatnot with his help. And but eventually I'd like to take that song and actually make it, that's like a minute and 20 seconds or something, the version I have here. But eventually over the course of the year, I'll take that song and actually record it with a full band. Maybe live with the full band would be cool. And then of course next year I'll have another song ready for her. So my goal, I think, and it's going to be like a tradition, is that every year on her birthday I have a new song specifically for her. I mean, it's not going to be boring happy birthday to you. It's going to be something unique and custom to Delilah because she's a unique person, and it would feel wrong to actually just kind of give her happy birthday, just a regular happy birthday. So birthdays are a big deal for us. We're kind of in a celebratory phase for her birthday. It's too big of an occasion at number 5 just to have a regular old birthday party, which we've done every other year on her birthday. But we have relatives that have kids that would come, and they always go on vacation on that weekend. So this year we've decided to postpone the actual party a couple of weeks, and we're going to be doing Chuck E. Cheese this year, I think. But on the interim weekend, that'll be like next weekend after next. But for the interim weekend here, we're just doing special stuff with her. So this weekend we took her for Thai food, and then we went to a place called Monster Mini Golf in the university area, and it was pretty cool. It was indoor day glow and all this video games and mini golf. We didn't get to the mini golf, but we did play a bunch of games. We got to play mini bowling and a whole bunch of arcade games, and she had a blast. So yeah, we're building up to that Chuck E. Cheese, where hopefully a lot of her friends are going to be able to show up. So excited about that. But anyway, the new tradition is a birthday song for her every year on her birthday, and for as long as I live and I'm able to do it, that is my goal for that. And then who knows? I mean, if I make it to the 10-year mark, maybe we can have an album of custom songs written on her birthday. Now that one, for the best kid on your birthday, I don't anticipate they're always going to say birthday. They're just going to be about what she means to us and, like how special she is, for our lives and whatnot. So, but yeah, the band has done several little, let me just save that real quick. little rehearsals where we just kind of, it doesn't show recent files, which is a shame. I thought it did. We've done several things where we've just jammed and, let's see, date. Oh, just one about, here's something. I'm not seeing the project file. Oh, that's a runoff. Just one vibe. Blah 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 blah. Fantastic preparation, Brent. Great job. I'm having trouble pulling up the template. I was going to play you something else, but I'm not hearing. Well, maybe I can just open this WAV file. Oh, it's not into it. Okay, let's close all. Close all. And here we go. I should be able to do it right here. The backup is newer than the original files. How you want to open the backup? Yes. We haven't played any live dates, I don't think, since the last update. Let me think. That would have been around the time of a couple of shows. We did Celtic Festival and we did Arbor Day Festival at Norwood. Celtic Festival is, okay, that's not good. Anywho, Arbor Day Festival, Celtic Festival, we did those and had a pretty good time, except for the Celtic Festival thing at Loafers. Unfortunately, at the last minute, somebody had to cancel. Then we had to scramble. I was going to be bass player. I had to scramble to get somebody else to play bass, and I ended up bringing 3 different basses that all had technical trouble, and that's crazy when you're the only person bringing the gear, and that sort of sucked. I don't ever want to do that again, and I made my feelings known on that. And just as fate would have it, life took over, and like my mom had a stroke. She's been 3 months in a rest home now, and I'm sort of the primary guy that interfaces with them and tries to keep her getting her benefits, because you know they immediately try to stop your benefits. And so I'm fighting a bit of a fight there, legally and emotionally. And then I was going once or twice, pretty much every day for the first 2 months, and then it just kind of made me start dreading going there. Not because of mom, but because it's just a rest home. It's like kind of a sad place. As an aside, they have a Chickering baby grand piano, which I play every time I go there. I try to stop and play it for a bit. That's actually improved my piano playing, which is kind of funny. I can kind of chord out anything right now. As far as playing, I don't know the arpeggiations, but I'm able to just do a basic pedal. And I've even done things like Imagine by John Lennon, and stuff like that. But anywho, that's been interesting, and it's kind of informed some of the recording projects here in the studio. Something that I always wanted to have was, music lessons as a kid. Never got them really. I got like 1 piano lesson or something like that, and then never was. My brother was forced to stay with it because he was younger, and the thought was he would be musical if they kept him in it, and that just went the opposite way for him. He could still play a little bit of Fur Elise, but he never cared about music. And then conversely, at 19, I got super into music. So I wish I had had that. I wish I had had that formal education, and the goal now, of course, is to make sure that Delilah gets that formal education. And oh, thank you, appreciate it. You can just, I'll use it, thanks. So the idea is to make sure she has that. So I always said on her 5th birthday, we would start her at piano lessons, and we had done that, I am happy to say. So she had her first official piano lesson. Now we tried to start her up with my friend Braden at like 4.5, but she just could not be forced into that pocket to sort of sit there and listen. But I will say the lady that we started her with is she's old hat at dealing with little kids, and the approach is like she uses little stuffed animals to get them engaged. And Delilah really didn't want to do it, and I sat with her on the stool, and she whined, literally audibly whined for 10 minutes of the lesson, of the 30-minute lesson. But eventually she stopped whining, and the lady's talking to her, baby talk and all this, and eventually she starts paying a little more attention. And I made the mistake of bringing in the tablet, and she knows there's a digital piano on that tablet, and she got the digital piano out, and she turned the metronome on because she just likes that click. And I noticed that when she hits a note on it, it's always on the 1. She just inherently knows to do that. Dink, 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 whatever she's doing. And so she's played with that a bit. We got her work was lined out, and I don't know that she's actually practiced this week so much. And I didn't want to make it be the kind of thing where it felt like a chore. I wanted to get to where she's enjoying it and having fun. And I think we're going to do that. We're going to accomplish that. But that said, tomorrow will mark her second lesson, and I'm keeping up with all this, and I'm on top of it. Either she or I will be doing that work, but you better believe it. And hopefully, as an aside, since I'm putting the responsibility on myself to be there and make sure that she takes this all in, I'm going to be her guitar instructor. I feel like I'm good enough on the guitar. Anyway, I'll be the guitar instructor, and with piano and guitar. But I'm gonna approach like playing around with the guitar with her just as fun. I'm gonna get her a little scale guitar. I mean, I've got 19 instruments in here right now within view. I've got 19 instruments and something like 6 amps, and like I need more. But I saw a Gretsch for $90 on the Facebook Marketplace, and it's a little it's a little low end Gretsch, which they go for about almost $200. $90. I'm like, that's half off, and I actually like Gretsch, and I've got a Gretsch right there. You might notice there's a change in the lineup behind me here. This is the black Telecaster now, so I took one of mine out of the storage, hung it up, because the white Les Paul is no longer with us. We have sold that guitar because I had a better Les Paul, and I found that I always favored the classic Studio Les Paul over the repaired Studio Les Paul that eventually had the neck broken and repaired. Although I like that guitar, a white guitar, man, especially a white Les Paul looks good on anybody. But my friend and jiu-jitsu instructor and mentor, Mr. Phil Kirby, purchased that from me, and he's on his journey right now, starting off, and I can't wait till he gets to the point where he will let me help him with guitar the way he helped me with jiu-jitsu. So that would be like a full circle moment, which I really look forward to. But he seems very serious about it. I know he's bought nice guitars, so that's a good sign. And he's got the sickness, and the sickness, of course, is buying guitars but never selling guitars. But anyway, I broke the chain this month by selling, and I really, situations like that where I know I can give somebody a great value on an instrument that I've had, and they'll skip over that having crappy guitars, and they'll have a quality guitar to work with. And I've sold Phil two of my guitars, and I said, look, man, I'm not looking to sell guitars. He's like, well, can you recommend a guitar you want to sell any of yours? And I was like, not really, but we got talking about it, and I knew what was going to happen. He's going to go buy a cheaper guitar than he should. And I was like, okay, well, all right, I'll make you a great deal on this guitar. And it was probably like a $600 guitar, which I sold him for like $400. And similar situation with this white Les Paul. I personally had $600 in it, and that's why I suck at selling them, but I collect them. And then she said, so you're gonna sell your guitar because you got a new one? Ha 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 ha. That's the famous meme, the Ray Liotta meme from Goodfellas, where they're all going But it's very true. You get into it, and I have some other guitars I could show since there's a video of this particular podcast, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'm trying something new as well, just to make it a little bit easier to get these out. The audio from my iPhone is going to be the audio for this one. Normally I record on a microphone through the console and everything, but today I'm doing it a little bit different because it's been so long. It's been 4 months since the last Secret Studios podcast, and my intent was to kind of keep sharing updates on the progress. And on that note, since the last podcast, Harrison and I have finished our round of work at Snug Record Studios, which involved 3 albums of ours, 2 albums of clients, and then a 2-song project for another client. So we have finished all that, and we have the final files with us now. And so now it's a matter of doing that part of music that I really hate, and that is publishing and putting out the work that we've done. The fun part is writing and creating and recording. The part that's not so fun is coming up with the final art, which I've put a lot into, but it's not a joyous project for me. That is just a chore, and it's the same for Harrison. We both have this, I think we both have this issue, and so we have jointly broken up the 3 records, and he's doing the design for one, and I've done the design for the other 2. a couple designs, and then deep into the process where we had nailed down what the design for the album cover was going to be for the first release, which is going to be called Providence Road. The working title was Southern Lane, which is the title of a song on there, but we both decided and agreed that a better title would be Providence Road, which is the name of another song on there, because it's just like, hey, to make this happen, it took Providence, you know, us meeting and whatnot. So, and the album is very Southern rock oriented, but there's already 2 songs on there with the word Southern in them, and I just thought it was a little too on the nose to call it Southern Lane with a song like Southern Boy and a song called Southern Lane on the record. So there's only one Providence Road, and that sounds like a title track anyway. It's one of the better tracks. I Vacillate, that's one of 2 tracks that's my favorite on that record, so it made sense for it to be called Providence Road. So, as an aside, I shot a little horror trailer for my friend Kenny Caperton, who purchased the car, the sort of retro classic American muscle car from the film It Follows, and we made a bit of a horror trailer kind of a situation to tie in with footage from the movie and licensed music from the movie and stuff. And I shot that entirely on the drone, but it turned out great. But there's a shot straight down of a lonely highway cutting through a cornfield, and this classic car going down one lane of it, and just, you know, transects the scene so beautifully. It was not for nothing, it was a great composition, which I did. And Harrison saw that, a photo of that, and he's like, oh, I wish we had a shot of that. I'm like, well, in fact, I do have a shot of that. And of course, with today's AI technology, you can up-res anything, and so we had a perfectly sufficient shot. And had I thought I'd be doing a simple photo cover, it would have been fine. But we did it, and I just lived with it for a couple of weeks, and I was like, now I want to draw all over it. So that was another approach I took, is just sketching crap all over it and putting like a little Frogger figure. I like Harrison's album covers because they're all like personal art, and they're sort of zany. And I just thought, I don't know, this is a big project, but I don't want to have a super serious cover for some reason. Anyway, the other album is going to be called, one of the other 2 albums is going to be called This Can't Be Undone, which was a song on there that Harrison suggested we call the album that. And I hadn't imagined it being called that at all. And then it started to grow on me. Well, we took, and for his album, he basically used a collection of Polaroids for his album with Tristan, and they call that Fortress, combining his last name and her first name. And they used a compilation of Polaroids, or that was one of the concepts. And I thought, you know what? I don't have all those Polaroids, but I do have AI. And I used AI to generate a cover based on the background of a bunch of portraits in the guy's silhouette. And the first or second one came out looking amazing. So I thought, we're definitely going to use this. And I just hand scribbled the title, This Can't Be Undone. And I'm like, that one's one and done. And the next one, it's called The Boy Who Learned to Fly, the other album. And Harrison's working on, we based it on an AI render of a kind of an anime picture of a guy over fields and a cloud, and he's sort of fallen. And Harrison's doing more sketch work on that to make it a little more personalized. And so that'll be the 3rd album cover. But I just really haven't nailed down Providence Road title, the graphic, because that's something that, that's the first one in sequence. And so now we're stuck. We're ready to release it, but we don't have the art. Anyway, I digress. I don't want to make this too long in the tooth because we haven't done it in a while, and I hear that my wife's here. She's probably going to come up and interrupt me anytime. Just walk in like I'm not doing a podcast. Anyway, so this is going to be episode 3 of Secret Studios. I'll get back more into what the band's doing, because right now we're kind of on hiatus. Tim, we have gotten together. We were supposed to get together yesterday. Things happened we didn't get to. Will, the drummer, smashed his knee up. Tim, one of the singers, has had shoulder surgery, so he did come the last time and just sing, and I was going to play you what we kind of came up with, but unfortunately I wasn't able to pull it up the way I thought, so I'll have to just defer that to next time. And it's just a developmental piece. We don't actually have the song, Anyway, that's it for this episode of Secret Studios. We'll see you for episode 4 very, very soon.